We are Man vs. Meeple, and for November 21st through December 4th, 2016, this is What's Next.
Welcome back to What's Next, the bi-weekly show where David and I walk you through all of the retail release games coming to your friendly local gaming store. David, we have a good list of games this week.
As always, we have a huge list. Every episode so far, we've had a great list, and this week is no exception. Number 5 is yours, right?
It is.
What is that?
This is a game that you and I love. It came out last year, and this is the first big box expansion to it. It is called Orleans Invasion. It is a 1 to 5 player game this time. About 120 minutes depending upon which of the scenarios that you play, ages 12 and up. So the thing in this game is it comes with 6 unique scenarios. 3 of them are solo play, which is new to Orleans.
Right.
2 of them are multiplayer, and 1 of them is a duel in which players will compete head-to-head.
Yeah, so it's kind of modules, right? You can pick and choose.
Yes, you pick and choose how you want to play. But the big draw of it is the cooperative one.
Yeah.
And that's the one I've had the most experience. Yeah, the Invasion, which players will have new boards, new events, and they will be cooperating to do a variety of different tasks on their board. It's really, really cool. If you guys are fans of Orleans, this is pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, Orleans is one of my favorites. I can't imagine not getting everything that comes out for it, for sure.
So, number 4.
Number 4 is called Blood of an Englishman. This is from Renegade, and this is a 2-player asymmetric game, and that's enough for me. Yeah. Like, as soon as I heard it was 2-player asymmetric, it had me.
Right.
But this thing is really cool. It's an abstract game, for sure, at its base, but they've put a theme on this that really ends up making a lot of sense for all the different moves you make. It's Jack and the Beanstalk.
Right.
1 player plays the giant, 1 player plays Jack. And you have just a slew of cards out, basically look like beanstalks with the treasures that Jack's going after.
Right.
And then there are cards that say fee, fi, fo, and fum, of course. So it's really cool because Jack is trying to build individual beanstalks and collect treasures.
Okay.
And at the same time, the giant is basically trying to manipulate the cards so that he can spell out fee, fi, fo, fum in either one of the columns or across the bottom row.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of rules basically in how you're taking your turns, but both players are manipulating all of the cards in order to try to achieve this.
And it's a really fun game. We both had experience with it, and it's very quick to play. It plays about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a short little game.
Yeah.
And it's one of the, like any good 2-player tactical game, you're taking turns either advancing your goal or playing survival to make sure your opponent doesn't get theirs. It's really cool.
Right. Staying with 2-player games, we have a brand new game by Stronghold Games called The Fog of War. It's by Jeff Engelstein. Takes about 2 hours to play and ages 10 and up. This is a really, really cool game. So I love World War II games.
Yeah.
This is based between 1940 and 1944 in the European theater of war. Each of the players will play either the Axis players or the Allied players. Now, people look at this and say, well, it could possibly be a war game. It is a war game, but there's no miniatures in the game. Each of the players will be using cards to represent their planes, their tanks, their units, even the cities upon which they wish to invade. But however, this is the cool portion of the game. It's bluffing.
Right.
Each of the turns, you're going to take a hand of cards, you're going to lay them flat down on the table. And the longer you let those cards mature, the more powerful they become. So how does a player look at the other player's stuff? They can use tokens to look at their cards, but they can only look at half of the cards that they have laid down.
Right.
So they could see that they're going to Paris, but they could have no idea what units they're using. Or they could see a huge mass of tanks, but they have no idea where they're going.
Yeah, and some of the bluffing comes in. There are sort of dummy cards, right, that you can lay down so that you might appear as though you're putting together a big force to go on this invasion.
Right.
But not.
Right.
So I love the fact that people are using a bluffing mechanic to fuel a far more interesting game.
Yeah.
Also, the time period's really cool. From what I understand, it starts before the U.S. and Russia are in the war.
That's right.
So there are things you can do to control that, too.
Right.
You attack in Russia, and all of a sudden, Russia's in.
Yeah.
And I think the Axis then gets far more
progressively stronger. There's a light deck building game aspect to the game too. That the further that you go through the eras, as you said, the Allies join, the Russians join, and Hitler's power starts to wane.
Yeah, well, it sounds really cool. I haven't played it yet, and I really want to.
I'm super excited to play it. Another World War II game. A game that we've already reviewed. It's called the Black Orchestra.
Yeah.
And for those that aren't aware, the Black Orchestra was a group of gentlemen that were against Hitler. And they were all Germans. They were men, women, civilians who, even though the Hitler Reich was powerful at the time, there were a group of people that did not like what he was doing
Sure.
to their country. So this is a 1 to 5 player game. Plays in about, it can play as short as an hour up to 2 hours, depending on if you're able to assassinate Hitler. Now, again, this takes place between the 1930s all the way to the end when Hitler committed suicide.
Right.
Players are looking for one opportunity, one plot to be able to...
That one chance.
That one chance to be able to kill him. And they're constantly trying to create their motivation to become zealous enough and powerful enough to enact the plot.
Right.
And not to become suspicious enough where the Gestapo is trying to capture them.
It can be a pretty tense. We've played this a couple times, a few times, and it can be pretty tense. You know, when you're really trying to build up to that one moment, like you said, and then it fails, and you kind of have to go back to the drawing board and see, okay, who has a plot that we can pursue now?
Right.
Yeah, very, very cool game.
Very thematic. You have number 1.
Number 1 is Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
This game we've played quite a bit
many
lately.
times, yeah.
In a very short span of time. This is one of Pfister's his most recent game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to explain this game. This is a 2 to 4 player game. And it plays really well, I think, at all player counts because the way the mechanism moves the game along really scales well. But like I said, this is a hard game to explain. You can't put it into any one category. We've heard people describe it almost as a rondel. Even though it doesn't look or would never appear as that, you're basically running along the Great Western Trail, taking cattle to Kansas City.
Right.
And you're doing that over and over again. So you're starting at the bottom of the board, working up to the opposite corner. Along the way, there's empty spaces, but each time you're going through, players are going to be building more locations on there, so it slows the progress down, but it also gives you more opportunity to sort of improve the efficiency with which you're doing things. There's a number of different mechanisms going on where you can score your points, a lot of different routes to victory.
Yeah.
This game is probably this quickly became close to the top of my list this year. It's definitely, I can't imagine this not being in my top 10 this year for sure.
And for you guys that are gamers out there, Alexander Pfister is on a roll. This guy did Mombasa, Isle of Skye, Broom Service. He's a really, really strong designer.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
And this is right up there with one of his best games, if not the best game that he's had.
Yeah.
So, Great Western Trail, guys. As always, make sure you guys are watching the ticker below. We have an entire list of all the games coming to
there is a lot more coming for sure.
And we have a retailer this time.
We have another retailer this week, and this week it is the Guild House.
Yeah.
And these guys are in California. This is we haven't had too many, but this is the first one from California.
Sure.
They've only been around for 2 years, so pretty new store. They haven't had a long time to build up a community, but it sounds like they really have. They have a real sort of what they describe as a family atmosphere, kind of a tight-knit family, but definitely welcoming in new members all of the time. The owner, Charles, came from Games Workshop, so he has a lot of sort of background in miniatures. So they have a definite miniatures presence in the store, but it is by no means just a miniature store. They go across the board. They have daily events of all kinds. Monica, the manager of the store, she's more on the board game fanatic front. So she's all about the board games. And then last but not least, they have, this is our first store that has mascots.
Cats.
They have a couple cats.
That's hilarious.
Teddy and Gears are a couple of the cats that you'll find around the store from time to time. And it sounds like they're kind of unofficial mascots of the store. The coolest thing I think about this store, and a lot of stores are doing this now, but we haven't heard of too many so far, they have a huge library of games that you can just go in and play. You can go in and pick any game, take it down, play it at a table. They even rent them out for people to take home.
Oh, that's unique.
That is very unique. I would be a little scared to do that myself, but they'll let people rent them out, take them, try them, and I think it's a good way. This is playing in store and then renting and letting people take them home is a huge way to show goodwill, and hopefully more often than not, those people are going to come back and say, that game is awesome, I'm going to pick it up.
And hopefully you guys can see by the pictures here, this thing is all about community. Building like-minded people who love games, and building that community within your store. Very cool store. So guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys go to our website, check out all the games releasing to your friendly local gaming store. If you guys want to be submitted to our friendly local gaming store list, please contact David and I at Man vs. Meeple, and check us out in 2 weeks as we bring you
probably another giant list of fantastic games.
Thanks guys for watching.
Bye-bye.